Hello everyone, my name is Nixon Amuomo from Rongo University. I'm going to present to you an article titled Determinants of User Interface Design for the Visually Impaired as a co-author. I will start with the introduction. The advancement of ICT in the areas of computers and mobile computing is advancing at an alarming rate, but there is very limited information for the visually impaired, with many studies conducted with a view to understanding how the visually impaired people interact with the technologies. But as at any objective of a good user interface design, it is to make the users interact in a simple and efficient manner, and this is not the case with the visually impaired. By description, a user interface design is the design of a user interface for machines, software like computers, home appliances, mobile devices, focusing on maximizing usability and the user experience. Visual impairments greatly affect human interaction with technology. People rely on vision in order to operate computer systems. The visual impairment encompasses a wide range of vision problems related to acuity accommodation, which is the ability to focus on objects at different distances from the eyes, illumination, adaptation, perception of depth, and color vision. The study sought to solve the problem of a user interface where the engineers continue to design fancy user interfaces on digital devices, but there is still very little to show on user interface design considerations for the visually impaired people. There are very few user interfaces that can fully cater and encompass visually impaired needs. There are various reasons why this imbalance exists, with some quotas alluding to the fact that there is a low number of visually impaired people, less cash, less tools and resources, and lack of efficient ICT infrastructure as some of the reasons why there is very little effort in meeting visually impaired users' needs. The purpose of this study was to analyze literature with empirical data, validation on trends towards identification of user interface design considerations for the visually impaired people at the design stage by the user interface designers. The literature review. The visually impaired face many challenges when there are no corresponding tactile feedbacks from the interfaces they use, with assistive technologies for the visually impaired still continuing to face challenges due to the fact that existing accessibility features are not enough in meeting their needs and expectations. While according to the World Health Organization 2010, it is estimated that there are 285 million people who are visually impaired and 39 million who are fully blind. There are two major causes of visual impairment, and these are uncorrected refractive errors at 42% and cataract at 33%. Figure 1 shows capability is affected by the two conditions, while figure 2 shows refractive errors of infected lens. But there are trends to improve the usability for users with visual impairment. Some trends are, for example, the allowance of text enlargements, use of audio haptic features, use of screen readers, use of keyboard shortcuts for navigation, and contrast on keys. The study methodology adopted Kothari 2004 procedure that combined the relevance of the research purpose with economy and procedure. The research design was both descriptive and correlational. The analysis carried out in SPSS, while the study population was based on the Kenyan census of 2009 that showed that 50,000 people were either blind or visually impaired at the study site, that is at Migori County, Kenya. Sample size of 200 people were chosen because of time and transport constraints. As for the data collection, we carried out face-to-face interview with ordinal data and included determination of characteristics of the respondents and their views in the user interface designs. The study results showed that 52% of the participants were female, 48% were male, with the mean age going at 36 years, while the median age was 39 years. Table 1 shows the bootstrap specifications with a confidence level of 95%, while Table 5 gives us summary of R squared of 0.558, which is approximately 0.6, which is good enough for coefficient determination. Therefore, that meant that our model fits the data better. So the ANOVA table is also shown in Table 9, while the age distribution of the respondents showed that 30% of the respondents fell between age 18 to 24, which is prime age for learning. In conclusion, the study observed that a lot of effort has been made towards making the visually impaired interaction with computers to be more efficient, to enable them to easily collect, create, and manipulate data. However, not all interface designs have features that cater for the needs of visually impaired. Therefore, there is still more effort needed to put in place for most of the user interface designs for the visually impaired by the engineers. The study also found that the age of users correlated significantly to the gender of the users. The study has shown that there is need to create user interface designs that have good features that can aid the visually impaired in their day-to-day activities, such as accessing internet and related technologies. Therefore, it is recommended that the user interface designers work hand in hand with the visually impaired through joint studies before designing any user interface. The above conditions therefore pose a challenge to computer interface designers by the fact that factors such as visual equity, which is clarity, light, contrast, and color vision, needs to be carefully looked into. We can conclusively say that visual equity will affect 1. Perception of text size, font size, capitalization, and sizes of all elements. 2. Reading spacing, such as letter spacing, word spacing, justification, margins, borders, and spacing between elements. 3. Elements identification, such as element level customization and proportional text increase. Light and contrast sensitivity will affect brightness. Other environmental factors such as clarity of the devices in terms of dots per inch DPI, brightness, lighting, glare, distance, and angle, and reading while reading in motion will greatly affect the design of visually impaired user interfaces. Thank you for listening to me. Welcome.